Hi everyone. Today we're talking with Petr Sramek. He is the managing partner of the Longevity Tech.fund and also the CEO of the Healthy Longevity Clinic. As you can see in the title, we will be talking a lot about longevity today, which is an important topic for all of us as human beings, right? So, of course, all the other species in the earth. So, welcome, Peter. How are you doing?
Hi, Ricardo. So I'm fine, and thank you for having me.
Good. Peter, yeah, how does it start this journey for you as a person involved in the longevity industry? Is this something you kind of develop over time, or it was your kind of life mission from day one?
Yeah, so I'm more like a super curious generalist, always looking or seeking
Hmm.
fundamental principles, to for better understanding of the world and everything. And so I was obviously very curious about uh, the life and death, and how this actually works. And My inclination is to look at very details, so I start studying various fields around the biology and physics and in the information or artificial intelligence, and it became very clear that most of these generally short conceptions about the purpose of death or inevitability of the death are maybe not really fundamentally grounded, right? Because this is what we don't see in a nature. If you look at very detail at the molecular level, or the cell level, or even the society or ecosystem level, we see a different picture. Everything is like completely different that normally people perceive. So, but it wasn't my like a profession or life for a long time. So I was tech entrepreneur. I was trying to use various technological advances to build products or solution or startups, and make it available for others. But at some point of time, I've seen that there are some major trends, or we call them mega trends. And the first was sometime 10 years ago, I suppose, around artificial intelligence. So I've seen that is actually coming. So I became a entrepreneur in this or in that space, artificial intelligence space. I started working with multiple startups. Um, I was engaged in various investor decisions, or help these startups to raise money, incubate their products. I started working with Singularity University um, in California. It was tremendous experience because I was basically exposed to tens, or most, I would say 45 startups from all around the world, from every continent, every nation. And that was really eye-opening experience, to see how various type of people or entrepreneurs are looking at solving problems, all this future problems or solutions. And but then I found that actually the most solutions I'm interested in are focused on rather health or education. I was not as much excited about other solutions like for marketing or fintech
Mm.
or some other stuff, which is probably useful and you can make a lot of money on it. But I was missing kind of a this purpose, or what to do.
Mm.
Um, so then I decided that it makes sense, to cross connect my personal passion in biology and health, and my profession is startups, entrepreneurship, and investments. And based on some experience and fails, and everything what I've done over the past 35 years of my career, I decided to build a fund, Longevity Tech Fund, because it looks like the best way how to support companies and startups in this emerging phase of the development of this field. Because longevity is really something like AI was 5-6
10
years
years.
ago.
Mhm. Got it. And yeah, what is the longevity debt fund? Can we walk through this? So what is exactly what you are doing now? Is a typical VC fund, but focusing into longevity industry, right? Or yeah, what is the spin-off or story behind your fund?
Yeah. So from obviously the VC funds are required to have a specific structure of or comply to all the rules and regulations. So that's purely standard. But the focus is,
Mm,
I would say, like a niche focus. So we are not a generalist investor looking at the various
mm,
opportunities, but we are really focusing and specialized in this what we call longevity space. But what this mean, right? So longevity is very pretty general word. Um, so we understand that what we are looking for are technologies or approaches to prolong or expand or active and healthy human life. If I say expand, I really mean expand. I don't mean prolong at the end, because nobody wants to live longer without proper health, right? So we are talking about
yeah.
expansion in every time of your life, even if you're young. Um, so what we are looking for are various technologies, and we have a very systematic approach. So we are looking at diagnostics, because we need to be able to measure what we want to improve, right? Especially aging biomarkers. We the most of the biggest part of our portfolio is focused on therapeutics and therapies, various type of interventions. We have 14 subfields, and we are systematically creating the portfolio of all important solutions. So it's not just again opportunistic cherry picking, but we are really creating the actionable portfolio solution for one's health. And then we are also supporting various enabling technologies. You can imagine AI for drug development or research, or for example, commercialization platforms. Because our main mission is really to help this field to or the solution to become available for or to everyone, not just for selected individuals. So for that, we need efficient platforms focused on various type of the consumer groups.
Okay. And yeah, now talking a bit about the mindset for the investors and you as part of the managing partner, right, of this fund. So what is the mindset that people needs to have to invest into this industry? Because assuming that typically a VC fund, right, expect to do a sales maybe in 10 years time, but or something like that, right? So what is the difference on mindset that the investors from your fund needs to have to be part of this, right? Because maybe longevity companies need more time for research and to try to arrive to the final product, right? So
Yeah. So
yeah,
I
can you
think that
comment into this mindset? Yeah.
so the most important difference is to understand the phase of the development of this industry,
Mm,
or even like rules how some of these trends are happening. We can see that in the past it's always if the trend is on an exponential trajectory, which are most of these technological trends we have seen in the past, including
mm,
obviously that I mentioned AI, but it was with mobile phones and various other technologies. So it was for a longer period of time was very slow, and then it just exploded. And the explosion happened because of a coincidence, not just coincidence, but basically a correlation of various other trends supporting that development, the availability of the computing power, or the communication, or the speed of the communication, or anything else. So similarly in longevity, we see that we are still in this slow accelerating, or the slow phase of the exponential development. But we clearly see the next several years, because we see this underlying other trends, including the powering the trend by various other advances in various diagnostics research. Obviously, AI is a huge accelerator of everything. So what we clearly see that the change to this rapid growing market will happen within next 3 to 4 years, around 25, 26 maybe. And that will be an explosion, right? Because the point is, one of the major problems of the current state is that people just don't know about that, right? But it was the same for any other similar technological trends in the past. So people think, okay, there was internet and now it's just happened, right? It wasn't. It was there for several years before, but just a few people knows about that. So similarly with longevity, the community is still small, and this paradigm changing approach, like that, we are actually able to slow down rate of our aging, which comes with a lot of super important effects, like postponing the incidence of chronic disease, keeping the productivity and activity of one individual, including some level of happiness, because if you are not healthy, right, you can't be happy as much, right? But people just don't know that it's possible. And what we see actually at the very moment where we still don't have access to these most advanced therapies, but even by using whatever we have right now, we can slow down that rate by 10 years. Literally accumulating 10 more years of healthy life for in average for everyone. And it will be much more in the future. It could be maybe 20 or 30 years of healthy life. And you can imagine that if our current productive age is around 30 years long, if I mean that the major part of our productive life, and you can imagine you can double it. So imagine then you can double the productivity of the whole world just by giving people more health. And it's not, I'm not talking about postponing the retirement age or something like that. I'm talking about the natural productivity. And everyone can understand that if you are older but not limited by your physical or mental capabilities, you are accumulating knowledge and skills, and you can actually be much more efficient and productive without maybe exhaustive work than you have been at the beginning of your productive career.
Yeah, I think you have touched a lot of points where we can go into talking about this, maybe what is existing now, and maybe also talking about the future, or what is expected of the future, right? Just maybe before going into there, I will put a pin here into these two topics. And can you first mention one or two of the companies that you have in your portfolio that you are kind of course, I assume you are observing all the companies in your portfolio, right? But yeah, what are the ones that you have more hope that into what they are doing, or yeah, what is the progress they're having?
Yeah, well, it's a really hard question, because we picked all of our companies because we like them, and we trust that it will come with like important solutions for the future. And every of these companies has a specific role in it. But some of them are maybe better, understandable for public, because there is a you ask for why or what investors should consider before entering this field. So obviously, if someone is investing through the fund, that's pretty easy. It's just understand the phase of the development and the opportunity we have. But if you want to invest directly, it's super complex, because all of that is about pure and very deep science. If someone is experienced in investing in tech startups, you normally you're requiring to see a pitch deck with whatever 7 slides, the problem, that solution, and that stuff. The typical biotech pitch deck is 50 to 150 slides long, packed with very deep science. So that's definitely not an easy for understanding, and you need and we have a lot of people around us and team members who are focused on specific areas, so we can really consolidate that knowledge. So we have 44, actually more, 45 companies in our portfolio at the moment. And if I want to pick some, maybe just one, which is maybe not a straightforward example of this longevity field, but the company called Maxwell Biosciences, what they actually develop with the support of the DARPA and the research for the soldiers. They develop so-called synthetic immune system. So you can imagine the specific programmable compound which act against pathogens like viruses, bacteria, or fungi. You may ask again how this relates to longevity. This actually relates worry to or longevity, because every disease we are facing, even the one we consider like light, is affecting our organism. Is if that's saying that if something will not kill you, it will improve you. But the improvement, it's not in per se the improvement. There is a kind of a merge of this various information and genetic information from viruses, bacteria, with your own genetic information. So everything is affecting you. Everything is somehow probably decreasing your health span. So this company developed a compound which can really beat basically anything. Sounds like a miracle. And maybe you remember that movie series, The Last of Us, right? The fungi which attack all the world population. This company literally they have a solution for that. They have a cure for cordyceps, right? They have a cure for Ebola or some other infections. So this is where I'm very, very, very excited. So it can help. They can cure all the COVID at once. Just taking that specific programmable compound. So it can save a lot. So that's one company I'm excited about. The other company, by the way, this company is called Maxwell Biosciences. And the other example is, for example, company Cyfox. They are developing a portable or small form diagnostic box, something like proteomics, small proteomics, which can literally measure hundreds of your biomarkers by using a very cheap chip, one-time use chip. So it can be used in the doctor's office, or it can be eventually used as a at-home device, or even maybe in the future some wearable device for continuous monitoring your biomarkers. And that's basically a key for much higher future improvements, because the problem of the solution is that we actually have solutions for most of these things, but we don't know which is the right solution or right combination of solution and right time to use it for exactly for you or for any other individual, because we are lacking this data and understanding. So we need better understanding of what's happening inside us on real-time basis. Then we can generate this the way how we can implement various solutions.
Okay. Yeah, as you mentioned before, your portfolio is compound, let's say, of several companies, right? And you are trying to create a portfolio that they are a complete round to the entire health of a person, right, or a human being, right? So, um, just wondering, as a curiosity question here, is like, do you kind of do these companies communicate between them, thanks to, for example, your participation as a fund, to maybe the discovery of one will help the other, right? Or kind of complement, because at the end of the day they are in this big mission of expanding health span, right? So maybe they should collaborate or transfer information in some way that maybe could be helpful. Is this something you do, or yeah, what is your feeling
Yeah.
into this area?
Mhm. That's definitely something we support, or even trying to orchestrate. It's You can imagine the form of the collaboration. By the way, we are never investing in directly competitive technologies, exactly, to avoid that type of the
Mm,
problem. But okay, there is a potential synergy. So we are encouraging these companies to communicate and to help each other. For example, we see several cases of joint clinical trials. We could have a clinical trial
mm,
even in animals is very expensive project, and if there is a possibility to share and maybe use diagnostics from one company, therapeutics from other company, or even mix do like a several type of solutions in a one clinical trial, and then see the results. That's exactly a win-win strategy for everyone. So this is what we support, and we have we are not only investors in these companies. We are obviously just a small investor in the bigger pool of
mm,
investors. So we are talking and coordinating with other investors to do the same. Encouraging people or these startups to communicate and cooperate. And there are various obstacles. Uh, One of these, the major obstacle, is that the current regulatory framework is not really designed to understand or target aging, because aging is not considered a disease, and you can only do the approval process for disease, not for anything else. Uh,
mm,
so and at the same time, understanding that there is not going to be a single solution for everything. Uh, this is this was the reason why we founded Healthy Longevity Clinic. Healthy Longevity Clinic is one of our companies, portfolio companies, but it's more like an ecosystem company where we try to help by designing clinical trials at much higher level, right? So we are basically trying to research and combine various treatments and solutions from our portfolio with other existing options, including all the the lifestyle changes and guidance, all of that stuff, to
mm.
design the right way how to do individual combinations or interventions, and uh, target the maximum effect of slowing down rate of aging or reducing all of these disease incidents.
Yeah, so you have mentioned regulations, right? And yeah, so can we talk a bit about whether the maybe the misconceptions that are currently happening on towards aging or the longevity industry, and of course the challenges that this creates for you guys into this. So yeah, can we walk a little bit towards that topic?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, that the current regulatory framework is focused on uh, uh, treating disease, and disease, is
Mm,
something specified by some like a disease catalog and some symptoms. And normally, if you want to design a solution for something, uh, you have a you have you have a generally, if you want to solve the problem, you have two ways of solving that problem. One is that you can repair after problem happens, or you can prevent the problem from happening. Obviously, the first way is much simpler because you can measure clearly if you are successful or not. But the second way, the prevention of the problem is not very clear, because if you prevent it, how do you know if you actually prevented it, or it will not happen in any way? And if we are targeting aging, that's like a very vague problem. Obviously, we target death. That's a very clear target, but it's too far in the future, and you can't design clinical experiments around that as much. You can do some epidemiologic studies in the past, but that's not helping at all. So this is why we need these aging biomarkers, various measures where we can see whether we are actually, intervening in the way that these are improving, right? One of the very common, one of the most respectable aging biomarker is a DNA methylation, but we have like a multiple variations of that, and it's still in the progress. It's not definitely a clinically approved biomarker yet, because it's still in a research phase. But statistically, it's giving us a good feedback that we are on a right trajectory. But from a regulatory point of view, I clearly understand that it cannot be used simply for approval of anything, because we just don't know. Even if we approve whatever drug, that the drug will decrease our biological age, we can't be sure that the decrease of biological age actually solving anything, right, at the moment. But the bigger problem is that, as I mentioned, there will be no single drug for that. There will be some kind of a unique combination applied to every individual on a long time basis, at least 1 year, program, which is exactly what we do in a health longevity clinic to achieve these results. And putting this into the current regulatory framework, and do like a clinical trial for that, it's super hard. Obviously, we are, as I mentioned, we are designing and we are running clinical trials, but I don't think that it can be simply applied as in the current regulatory framework. So all companies are obviously they need this approval, so they are using so-called proxy disease. So there is always some kind of a age-related disease, like age-related macular degeneration or osteoarthritis or some other things. So they are using their solutions to cure that age-related disease, which can be then approved as a cure or drug for that disease. But in fact, the cure is targeting some aging pathway, some aging mechanisms. So we see that it has other effects, not just for this specific disease.
Got it. So kind of the way till now, till there is an acceptance that aging is a disease in our rules, let's say, is that the therapeutics or diagnostics are attached to a specific relationship with a disease, right? With something that we classify as a disease, right? Got it. Yeah, so maybe we can go deeper into the healthy longevity clinic, right? So yeah, what are the current services or products that you guys offer I think you are in the US and in the Czech Republic, right? So yeah, can you walk us through what you are currently doing in these places? And
Yeah.
yeah.
So as I mentioned, we consider clinic as a so-called ecosystem company, which provides benefits for various parties. So there is certainly a benefit for companies developing these various therapies where they get access to the real subjects, humans. I don't mean for testing some non-safe solutions, but rather to work with people who are concerned about their aging, so who gets a lot of various diagnostic tools, or we generate a lot of information. So it can be research while targeting aging, because many other clinical trials are targeting some specific disease. They are basically not capturing enough data, age-related data, to see whether it actually works or not. So the clinic, there are like multiple layers of the offering in our clinic, and all of that is based on really cutting-edge science and the best available technology. So this is why the clinic is more on the expensive side of the solutions, but this is what we need at this phase of the development. So we are beginning with the first layer, which we called like addressing any unknown or known issues, like even the disease, right? So if there is an individual coming to our clinic, we are making sure that the individual is not diseased, and if there is some disease, we need to target the disease first. Obviously, if this is a chronic disease or age-related disease, cannot be like cured immediately, but we need to be sure that there is nothing hidden. We do like cancer testing or other types of very advanced and early detection methods. So then the next layer is to set we call baseline, health baseline. Health baseline means that we need to fine-tune various biomarkers or levels of micronutrients, vitamins, or even some changes in lifestyle, to achieve, let's say, normal level. Because most people are not at normal level. They have some issues. They are missing that or that, something else. They have like super low levels of B12 or some other important part of our physiology. So we need to make sure that the baseline is met before we can go further up. So the third level is to look at and further improve that baseline by using more advanced various longevity supplements compounds. Obviously, there are NAD boosters or various ways how to improve more age-rated biomarkers. And this is where we see a lot of improvements, and this is where we can basically achieve improvements 5 to 10 years of so-called biological age within 1 year of program. But that's not everything. Obviously, we can do further. We can go further up. We can introduce some more advanced solutions based on several drugs or maybe even light therapies, which can further address specific areas and issues. But at that phase, we are, in all layers, we are very individual. But as we go up and up through the layers, the work is even much more individual. So, for example, I'm obviously a subject of various of these testing procedures. I'm working on my health parameters and biological age. And by the way, I just learned that my DNA methylation epigenetic age decreased by 10 years over the period of last 20 months from already good minus 6 years level. So I found myself like minus 16 years on this scale. So I'm 55, but based on these clocks, I'm 39. So that's obviously encouraging. But at the same time, I see like a ton of various micro problems in my biomarkers or in my systems, which we can address, right? So, for example, I'm still solving some issues with my mitochondria health. I have a high proportion of mitochondria damage, even the mitochondria DNA damage and proton leak. So I'm solving that part. So, for example, one of the reasons could be a slight poisoning by mycotoxins, right? Which I you don't know mostly where you can get this, but if you are able to measure it, so you can address it somehow. So, and that's all affecting, the especially the mitochondrial metabolism parameters. So there's a lot of stuff we can address on the within these layers, but we need to go deeper and deeper. But it's not all, right? So we can allow our clients to participate in various clinical trials for more advanced treatments. For example, we have a therapeutic plasma exchange in our Florida clinic, where the therapeutic plasma exchange can address at first various issues, but also it comes with general cleanup of your waste from it's basically what this does is to replace your plasma content in your blood, which is like around 3 liters of plasma, by fluids consistent with albumin and some other compounds, and this will clean up all the not degradable waste, because our body is not capable to degrade everything, especially as it gets older, so that this degradation process is less efficient. So that's the first example of advanced procedure. But we are looking forward to next ones in the future, to even offer some level of gene therapies for various cholesterol degradation or telomere expansion and some other stuff. So it will create the additional layer in these solutions. Eventually, in the far future, we have a few companies working on the most advanced replacement type of strategies, right? That the one is actually working on potentially replacing part of your neocortex in case of a damage, or in case of the degradation.
Well, it sounds incredible. So yeah, so well, first of all, congrats for reducing your biological age, and so you can put in your birthday cake some different number, right? So now talking more seriously, of course, about who should consider to come to your clinic. So what is your current ideal customer, right? For example, is everyone, or you are kind of trying to bring some specific type of people to your clinic at this point?
Generally, I can say everyone, but obviously we cannot deal with very diseased people that they must be cured in the regular healthcare system before coming to us. There is a lot of if someone is a diabetic or something like that, obviously it can be part of, because we can help or support the process of curing some of these chronic disease. But generally, there is no really limitation, especially, for example, someone may say, okay, I'm not enough old to do these things, but that's not true, because it's relevant, definitely, no later than in your 30s, because this is where the most aging accelerations is starting, and you can actually accumulate this health span any time of your life. It's even more simpler and cheaper if you start earlier. So whatever you accumulate in your 30s, it's like a fraction of the price if you want to do the same number of years if you're in your 50s or 60s, right? So and then obviously there is even if you're planning a family, children, it's very important to know that it's affecting your children. Your longevity kind of health status is affecting your offsprings, because there is a epigenetic transfer of some of this information, and the epigenetic age is a level of methylation of various genes which are correlated with your age, and it's to some level, it's transferred to your children. So I would encourage everyone who is planning to have a family, to start with that at least 6 months before the conception. So any age, and obviously it's important to know that at the moment, because it's really cutting edge science, it's not cheap, right? So you can't expect anything on the level of standard care, but it's more, the people must understand that it makes sense to enroll for at least 1 year long program to achieve results, because it's not like we will measure you and then we will give you the magic pill and that's it, and you can just go and continue with your lifestyle and drinking and everything. That's not how this works. But the 1 year program doesn't need to be a super time demanding or like except you don't need to do like a biohacker style things, but still you need to dedicate some time and obviously some amount of money, especially for these test methods where they are done in various very advanced labs, and so they are not common. So it's not cheap.
Yeah, understood. So if someone is listening to this podcast and they want to know how to start with your clinic, so what is the normal process for you? So yeah, they should just go to your clinic and go there and buying an appointment, or yeah, how does it work?
Well, the best way is, so we have 2 clinics at the moment. We have a one in Prague, and the other one is in Boca Raton, Florida. We are just planning the next one in Miami Beach, and the best way how to start is to sign up for a so-called discovery call. So you can use the website, and we will guide you, or you will be connected with a health professional who can discuss this in details with you, to find out what could be the best approach, or how to do this at the beginning. Obviously, you can do some initial screening to understand the current level of your health, but then again you need to be ready to really continue over the period at least 1 year to see some significant results.
Good. And now moving a little bit towards the specific actions that maybe you personally are doing in your life. So can we talk about a bit about that? So yeah, what are the lifestyle changes that you recommend for people to do to expand their health and yeah, or any other supplements that you typically currently use, for example?
Mm-hmm. There are obviously don't do's and do's, right? So in terms of don't do's, these are much generally applicable to everyone. Like surprisingly, don't do dangerous activities, right? It's maybe much more affecting your health than anything else. But typical things which everyone can understand is drinking or extensive night eating, or even disturbing your sleep. Sleep cycle by various activities. So this hygiene is maybe the basics. But in terms of do's, that's much less clear on general basis, because typical question, what is health diet? What is the best exercise I can do? And that's individual, right? So for some exercise could be very beneficial for one and not as much, and maybe waste of the time for others. Or the same for food. Someone can say, okay, let's just be vegan, but well, it may help someone, but it can damage someone else, right? It really depends on various factors, on genetic predispositions, and not just the genetics, but also on the stage of the development of that individual, maybe status of his microbiome. All of that is in the development is constantly changing over some cycles, and these cycles can be some cycles are like circadian rhythms in hours, some cycles are in days, some other cycles are in months, right? So the individual must understand these cycles and the state of his body at every of these cycles to be able to design and answer the question, what are the right do's, and typically, but just generalization, and my routine is sleep hygiene. So really give us sleep enough time, and it can you need to train your body in a specific rhythm. So if you start going to the bed at the regular time, if you don't eat in the evening, do some like a little bit intermittent fasting. It could be again individual, but at least not eat after 6 p.m. Then your sleep will regulate itself, so you will just start sleeping better. There is a one important factor in everything what we do is your mental state, right? Your even like a life purpose. You need to feel that you want it, you want to live, right? You want to do something in your future or for others, and that will drive your motivation, even inform your body that it must get better, right? If you are just tired, if you are just you don't want to live that life you're living, so that may be a reason why you are not healthy, because the body is just responding to whatever mental state you are in. So you need to work on that part. You need to maybe find some help or coach. I mean, it doesn't mean to be that you need to have a psychiatric indication, right? It's just very normal that everyone has its own problem. So the mental health, well-being, motivation, that's all very important part of that. And I was working on myself for the past 20 years, really heavily. And finding that purpose is actually part of that success of improving my health. So that's about the sleep. Obviously, trying to eat healthy in terms of at least not eat unhealthy things. I mentioned not drinking. I'm not drinking anymore, and I'm not. Also, I'm trying to avoid extra, saccharide or sugar. Obviously, I eat a lot of vegetables. I try to find food sources where at least there is some level of guarantee that it's organic, or it's not poisoned by something you don't know or you don't see. I try to stay at more like a healthy places, not somewhere where is a lot like a smoke or other potential pathogens. So avoiding that type of environment. Talking back about the mental side, I try to avoid be with toxic people, right? So that's another important part. It's sometimes not easy, during this time of global events, like wars and that stuff. But still, it's a part of the picture. And obviously, in terms of exercise, it's individual, but at least you need to do something every day. At least walking or moving yourself, right? That's another part of this routine.
Good. And in terms of supplements or medicines, do you use any specific drugs for now, or like complement your day, or yeah?
I do, because based on all of these measurements, I clearly see what I'm missing, what I need to add. For example, I have a genetic predisposition for lower, I cannot metabolize standard B12, so I need to take a special methylated form. I need to add some level of vitamin D because again there is some genetic problem. I need to. I'm supplementing proteins, right, or essential aminos or aminos, special aminos, amino acids, because they are not present in the food as much as I want. For example, if I decrease the meat consumption, which I'm avoiding meat at some days during the week, so there is not enough proteins coming from the vegetable food, because I don't want to overeat to avoid the saccharides. So I'm supplementing various type of amino acids and proteins. And there is actually a lot of things, but everything is different in a different period of time based on my measurements. So I'm constantly adapting to that feedback. So I'm not taking anything just because someone says it's good, right? I'm always monitoring how it works for me. And another important thing is that there is no the same routine every day. So I follow smart phases. So I'm taking various different set of compounds in a different time of a week. It depends, it correlates with my, for example, exercise routine or even the if mTOR and AMPK activation, this repair and growth cycles. So all of that comes together in some synergy, right? So I'm trying to avoid that these things go against itself.
Got it. And of course, I am, just to clarify, of course, everyone needs to do their own diagnose first, what is missing into their body, right? And before taking a decision, what to take, right? As you're mentioning. And of course, that's part of I assume this is part of the layer 1 of your clinic, right? That you're kind of
it is
diagnosing.
It's layer 2, layer 1 celiac disease. Well, maybe I can say there is one seems to be like a general recommendation that you can supplement by these NAD boosters to achieve the levels levels at the young stage. So my NAD levels are constantly. I measure it repeatedly, and it's on the level of 25 years old, and that's because I'm supplementing by NAD. In my case, it's NMN and partially AKG. So this is something I consider like a general recommendation, especially for someone over 40s.
Got it. Okay, so thanks for the comments in what you are doing in your lifestyle, and of course on these supplements comments. Now, if we talk about maybe what you are looking forward in the future, like can you tell us one or two therapies or medicines that you are looking for to have in the future based on your experience in what your companies are working on, or any other companies outside of your portfolio as well?
Yeah, sure. So I'm definitely looking forward to some level of I would say not the automation, but more like a AI support for this individual analytics. Taking all of that available data in a more frequent and or eventually real-time basis to get the proper picture and adapt the therapeutic or intervention approach accordingly. That's one wish, and I believe that it will come with like a major effects and efficiency of these interventions, eventually leading to less interventions and more normal life, like life without caring too much about what I do or what I specifically need to take. And so that's one part. The other part is that I see like interesting ways or technologies how to really improve the lives of even all the clients, all the patients. People like in their 70s, 80s, and there are like one company we have a portfolio called Matrix. They are working on mitochondria infusion technology, which together with some other, for example, GenFlow Biosciences with CYP6 repair gene and protein, and maybe some other solutions based on, let's say, young blood signaling molecules, it can dramatically help these older people, right? Reducing their, improving the health to the level of 20, 30 years younger people. This is certainly what I believe in.
Yeah, that sounds an exciting future that hopefully we're going there soon, and that the exponential growth, as you're mentioning, is coming soon in the next couple of years, right? Um, yeah, so if someone who is listening to us as well and they want to join into this journey of longevity, so what are the places that they should go, let's say, or it can be digital, of course, or in person, talking about physical places, right, where they should go to move, or not only maybe, of course, go to your clinic and know I'm now diagnostics and this process, but also maybe participate as an investor or as a founder or a team member of these companies. So
yeah. So you may have seen that we named all of our companies the same way as they have a web address, right? So LongevityTech.fund, HealthyLongevity.clinic. I did not mention we have a more light version of the clinic called HealthyLongevity.cafe in Prague, where individuals can test and use some of these technologies, which are, I would say, 10 times cheaper and 10 times more simple than in the clinic. So it's more accessible. It's in Opletalova Street. Obviously, they can have healthy food and drinks. So Healthy Longevity .cafe. And in terms of learning more, it's actually really hard to do a general recommendation because there is a ton of various health influencers, internet or various podcasts, and it really depends on level of your understanding or the how well are you informed. For example, I started with some podcasts, I don't know, 8-10 years ago, or books, and now I consider all of these like completely obsolete for me because it's I'm much deeper in the field. So it very depends on one's preferences. From my perspective, the current, I would say, maybe the most trustful source could be, for example, Peter Attia blog, The Drive. I mean, the podcast and the book, Outlive. I may not agree with 100% everything what he says, but he's at least a good resource for a lot of interesting insights about health. But it's kind of more scientific that maybe some people can accept. But generally, the good distinction would be if you're listening to someone and that someone is providing like the right, this is the only guidance you need. If you do this, it will solve all of the issues. Never trust these claims, right? If there is anyone promising that with that magic thing you will solve all of your issues without knowing you, that's probably not true.
Yeah, of course. There is no magic pill yet, or we don't know if there will exist, right? It's a combination of therapies and lifestyle changes, right? Um, Good. And do you, yeah, apart of Peter Attia, do you follow any other podcasts or events that maybe you follow into this industry? Not only from the point of view of implementing the therapeutics, as I said, but also as a point of view of joining into this journey to participate with these companies.
Yeah, so there are various conferences around the year on the longevity topic. Some of them are more scientifically focused, so you can see, the scientific presentations. Some of them are more focused on like investment or business side. Uh, it very depends what you prefer. It's maybe useful to see the bus and maybe meet some people. So, but it can be, you can easily find it on the web. There is a, from the scientific perspective, maybe the best conference is the one in Copenhagen, ARDD, and for there is another interesting one for medical space, which is going to be in Lisbon, I believe in May of the next year. Longevity in medical, and there are some other conferences more focused on the, topics like there's transhumanism or immortality, but we are not as much concerned about that. These topics, these are more like rare. Obviously, you can find some biohackers groups or biohacker conferences, but these are sometimes super focused on just pitching various type of equipments or features, and you can do this light and that sound and this device, and everything is like super great. And if you want to, if you're excited, you will end up with like doing nothing else, but probably with not a significant effect. So I would not really recommend as much this as a starting point.
So yeah, as just final topics for today. So is there anything that we haven't talked today that maybe you want to dedicate 1 minute to mention, or something that maybe we didn't have the chance to talk?
Well, I think that we have covered a lot. Maybe I just want to repeat why this all is important, not just for individuals, but for all the society, because the society generally is not healthy, and your for example, inflammation is very common. It's affecting everyone's mood and decision making. So the people are just fighting each other because probably they are not healthy, right? Part of that is a traumatization. With someone who is not healthy can traumatize his children and just repeat and repeat. So we really need to solve that problem, or at least start solving this problem. And then the other thing is that the population will, on contrary of various belief, it will disappear from Earth if we do nothing, because the birth rate is coming down even in developing countries. So we will hardly reach this 10 billion threshold, and so we really need to start working on our health span and longevity, and maybe even allow us to expand the period when we can have children. I truly believe that with the support of these technologies, we can even be able to have children in our 80s, or maybe 100-year-old people could have children with all of this knowledge and skills, and maybe even the resources to dedicate time to their children, and make them much happier than probably if they would be in a if the parents are just 20 years old. So this is my belief.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, thank you very much for this sharing. This is really important, as you said, that I think you emphasize a lot of mental health is quite important as well, into apart from all the physical activities that we can do, right? So and it's quite an important message. So Thank you, Peter, for your time today. And how can people reach you out if they want to ask you more questions or collaborate with you in some manner?
Yeah, sure. So, we say I have a LinkedIn profile, so you can message me or just to follow me and maybe react to anything you are interested in. But I'm easy to reach even through these companies, so don't be afraid.
Okay. So thank you very much again, Peter. So all the best and success with your fund, the clinic and the cafe, and we keep talking.
Excellent. Thank you. Have a nice day.
See you.